The big sliding doors that you see on these sound stages are called elephant doors because during the early days of the motion picture industry, jungle-themed movies were very popular for some reason, and I guess they were very exotic, and they needed to have doors that were literally large enough that an elephant could walk into the soundstage. On your right-hand side, stage 28, it's the oldest building on the front lot, originally constructed in 1925 to house the elaborate Paris Opera House sets for the Phantom of the Opera. Not the musical, but the original horror movie version of that story, starring...
My name is Alfred Hitchcock. We all go a little mad sometimes. Seen the plot.
Pretty easy to spot in there if you know what you're looking for. Hitchcock had a pretty distinctive look to it. But now we're going to leave the front lot, take you out here to the back lot. This is where we shoot all the big exterior scenes, very large scale things. The first area that we'll drive around and through over here on your right hand side is known as the Metropolitan sets. This is the area that was affected by the fire out here in the summer of 2008. You might have heard about that on the news. It really did burn all the way right down to the ground out here. They stripped it all the way down to the bare earth before they began the rebuilding process. What you'll see out here today really represents the single largest set construction project ever undertaken in Hollywood history. It's almost like they built an entire small town over here. Many of these sets are completely new in their design, but some of them are very similar to what they were before. Like this row of brownstones that you see right over here on your right-hand side. You might recognize the previous version of Brownstone Street on your screens in this clip from Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey.
The dog!
I'm in the shower!
Like that, outside good. Like that, outside good. You're done. B-E-A-U.
You can see how they rebuilt those brownstones almost exactly the way they were before. The next area that we're going to take you into is really one of the most famous locations out here on the back lot. It is known as Courthouse Square, an appropriate name for a location that was used in some classic courtroom dramas like Inherit the Wind with Spencer Tracy and To Kill a Mockingbird with Gregory Peck. This area has also been used in things like the original film version of The Music Man starring Robert Preston. It was for 5 seasons recently on television as the town of Grandview on the hit CBS show Ghost Whisperer starring Jennifer Love Hewitt. But this area is perhaps most famous as the town of Hill Valley and all the Back to the Future movies with Michael J. Fox. I'm actually going to pause it right there for a second. The building that you see there on your screens from Back to the Future is essentially the same building that's right across the far side of the courtyard or the town square over there. It looks a lot different now than it did in Back to the Future. That's not because of the fire. That was one of the buildings that was unaffected by the fire in 2008, but they had already significantly changed the look of the building for the use of the show Ghost Whisperer. That's pretty much the case with all of these sets that we're going to see out here in the back lot today. They get used again and again and again. They don't rebuild them from scratch every single time, unless they burn down, of course, then I suppose they have no choice except to rebuild them. But other than that, they take these same basic buildings, change the way they look a little bit, paint some different windows, signs in the windows, and the same basic sets can serve as just about any different time period or location that a story needs, even the greatest city in the world, New York City.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York. I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got mugged over there by an old woman, tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey, I'm walking here. Hey, it's cool guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
Now, we call this New York Street, but over the years it's been used in just about every major city you can think of. San Francisco in the original Dirty Harry movie with Clint Eastwood. Los Angeles in the climactic battle sequence of the first Transformers movie. It's even been used in New York in Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. It was being used the first couple of months of this year by a brand new Spider-Man movie, The Amazing Spider-Man, sort of restarting the Spider-Man franchise with a new Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, which you might have seen in the movie The Social Network. That movie will be out next summer. And New York Street was being used as New York can actually be found in a nearly 1 hour-long portion of a digitally shot feature-length film. There are 16 high-powered digital projectors in there, each one about the size of a refrigerator, bringing peephole, 360, 3D. The vehicles that are coming up on your left-hand side are what are known as picture cars. A picture car is basically any vehicle on a set that is seen by the camera. And over the years, a lot of these picture cars have become every bit as famous and as recognizable as the stars driving them. Whether it's the Deathmobile from Animal House, or as you'll see there, one of 15 different DeLoreans that were used in the making of all the Back to the Future movies with Michael J. Fox. Over the years, picture cars have gotten to be bigger, badder, and faster, and there's really no better example of that than in a movie like The Fast and the Furious. You know what I'm saying? We're now going to take a little bit behind the scenes, show you how filmmakers use a variety of different special effects to create all of those big action and chase scenes in a movie like The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. That was the third Fast and the Furious movie. The fourth Fast and the Furious movie, now out on DVD, filmed a number of scenes here on the back lot. They are right now in theaters. Right now is the fifth Fast and the Furious movie, Fast 5, starring Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, and Dwayne Johnson. But this is special effects stage 55.
Clear on the set.
Looks like they're just about ready for a test run.
Let's see the bullet hits. And go. Smoke. Go. Fire. Go. Okay, we're clear for a full run through. All systems checked. This one's for real, guys, so watch out. And action.
Say hello, everybody, to Karma and Carnage, great examples of motion control technology. You guys have any other moves you want the folks to see? No? Yeah, I thought that might. Now, I saw Lonnie back there taking pictures. When you get home, you put those pictures on your computer, do a little Photoshop, take out that big robotic arm that just underneath the cars, and hey, you're a special effects artist. Just like that, just like they would do if they were making a movie. The first two of those were directed by Steven Spielberg. Some of you might remember that big mobile lab on the left, dangling over the edge of a cliff with Julianne Moore, or Julianne Moore's stunt double, hanging out the back window of it. That cliff was actually just a parking structure on the front lot here at Universal. They dressed up to look like, oh, what's going on back there? What's going on back there? Take cover back there. Look out, everybody. Look out. Oh, right in the face. Oh, I'm sticking out. Oh, folks, I don't know what to tell you. I'm as surprised as you are. I mean, I had no idea that those things were still out there. Yeah, let's don't get too upset. I tell you, a little club soda gets that dinosaur spit right out. You'll be fine. Now, when Steven Spielberg started here at Universal, one of his very first assignments was to take a young writer on a tour of the back lot. That writer's name was Michael Crichton, who would later go on and write the novel Jurassic Park that served as the inspiration for all of those movies. In all the movies, the weather always plays an important part in setting just the right mood for a scene. And listen, you don't want to hear me talk about the weather. Not when we have access to America's favorite
forecast for today. Now here's a look at what's going on.
Oh, flash flood warning. What's all that about? Flash flood? I thought it was a pretty nice day out there. Well, there's only about a 50-50 chance that was right. Oh, well, there we go. What do you know? I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for quite a while yet. I keep playing about you. Now, some of you at the Sharp Eye may notice the rain being produced by the overhead sprinkler system. That's how they create rain on television and in the movies. Sometimes the rain doesn't show up so well on camera, depending on what the lighting effects are. And they mix a little bit of milk in with the water to get it to show up better on screen. Of course, it doesn't usually go on this long. I have some trouble with the drainage out here. Oh yeah, we got a flood back here. Take cover back there. Look at it, everybody. take a look at your screen, you'll see this exact set in action in Big Fat Liar with Paul Giamatti and Frankie Muniz.
You can't outrun the wolf, kid!
Yeah, we'll see about that.
He wished he was on the tram that day. Now, of course, all that water does get recycled. The song Judas. That same Mexican Village Square seen on screen in Paramount Pictures' Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Even seen recently on the NBC show Community. But now we're going to take you across the border from Old Mexico to the Old West. Here to tell you a little bit about these dusty old trails, that old cowboy, Jimmy Fallon.
This town ain't big enough for the both of us, Jimmy Fallon.
Well, I ain't going anywhere, Jimmy Fallon.
Now look here. Nice folks in this tram don't want no trouble. They just want to check out 6 Points, one of the oldest sets on the Universal line.
I hear this where John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart shot a few of their westerns.
That's right. That's where I aim to shoot you.
Looks like we got ourselves a Mexican standoff.
They would charge people 25 cents, which included lunch, and they would let people come down and sit and watch as they were actually filming silent movies. No sound was being recorded, obviously, so people could cheer the heroes and boo the villains right while they were filming the scene, almost like they were sitting in the theater watching a play. Over the years, just about every big screen cowboy that you could ever think of, from Audie Murphy and Hoot Gibson, all the way up to guys like Jimmy Stewart, Gary Cooper, even John Wayne himself, made movies right over there in 6 Points, Texas, and on the immediately adjacent Denver Street area. Those Old West streets have been seen more recently in things like Seabiscuit with Tobey Maguire, The Color Purple with Oprah Winfrey and Whoopi Goldberg, TV show Star Trek Enterprise, the Adam Sandler movie Bedtime Stories. On your left-hand side, you see that funny-looking round thing with the stairs running up to it. I'll put a picture of it on your screens as well. That is our underwater tank. That can be filled with thousands of gallons of water. You dump a couple of big stars in it, and then there are flaps on the outside that they can open up with windows behind the flaps. They can keep the crew and the director, most importantly the camera, nice and dry on the outside and film underwater scenes in there without having to go out to the ocean somewhere. They used it on shows like Alias with Jennifer Garner, Fear Factor with Joe Rogan. They used it quite a bit on Fear Factor, Hale's Navy. It was used as the Mississippi River in the early classic movie musical Showboat from Universal. As you'll see on your screens, it's one of the original homes of the creature from the Black Lagoon. That classic Universal monster movie, filmed quite a few things over there. It's where Norman Bates hid the bodies in Psycho. We made sure we got those all out of there though before the tour started today. Now, Mike and I want to take you down through this next area and show you another little trick filmmakers have to create those exotic locations. Oh, well, Mike, what's the problem here? I'm sorry, folks. You can see we got a little something blocking our path up here. No, that's a good idea, Mike. Mike suggests this usually works. On the count of 3, if you can all shout out, "Part the waters." Do it for the kids now, okay? On 3, 1, 2, 3. Part the waters! Oh, that was very good from one of you. The rest of you should be ashamed. But... There we go. That's what I'm talking about. A little dramatic music always helps. I have a recording of this music at home, actually. It makes bath time very dramatic. As we go through this next area, we're going to be going a little bit below the level of that water. So if you have anything on the floor of the tram, you don't want to get wet. Peter Jackson had all the digital effects that he could want at his disposal when he made that movie, but he still found a way to use that special effects technique, which has really been around since the earliest days of motion pictures. Filmmakers will build those exceptionally detailed models, and then when they're filmed in the screen close-up and projected on the big screen, they look like the real thing. It's all very convincing, of course, until a duck swims through the shot. See there on your screens, it sort of ruins the whole illusion. Inside that building, well over 1 million separate pieces, everything from old Roman swords and shields all the way up to modern-day cell phones. Like the world's greatest flea market inside that building. All the props in there can be rented by any production company. Some of them rent for as little as a few dollars a day. Others cost thousands of dollars a day to be rented. The area that we're pulling into next, known as the Square of Warriors, originally constructed in 1959 for the making of Stanley Kubrick's classic film, Spartacus. Now, if you saw Spartacus, you might remember Sir Laurence Olivier standing at the top of those steps right over there, exhorting the Roman legions to go do battle with Spartacus. The series has been seen more recently on things like Crossing Jordan on television, the NBC show Chuck starring Zachary Levi, The Scorpion King with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and it was used as the fictional country of Genovia in our driver Mike's all-time personal favorite movie, of Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement, starring Julie Andrews and Anne Hathaway. Hey, he's a tough guy. He is one of the toughest guys you're ever going to want to meet, but he loves those Julie Andrews movies. There's nothing you can do about it. No, come on, Mike, you don't have to apologize. It shows your sensitive side. You know, the ladies love that. They're crazy about that. The next area we're going to drive you through, known as Little Europe, was originally constructed in 1929 for the making of our first Academy Award-winning film for Best Picture. That was All Quiet on the Western Front, still a classic to this day. Over the years, it's appeared as pretty much every major European location you can think of, and you'll see some examples of that right now.
Mi chiamo Jimmy Fallon e tu una grossa bottiglia di vino. Je m'appelle Jimmy Fallon. Je voulais été baguette.
Mon chéri, non! Hallo, ich bin Jimmy Fallon. Karl Schnitzer. Ich glaub, wie steht auf mich.
Coming up on your right-hand side, one of the most legendary areas out here on the back lot, known as the Court of Miracles. Back in the 1930s, Universal put out all the original classic monster movies: Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Wolfman. All made their first appearance on screen in Universal Films. They all appeared right over there in the Court of Miracles. Series Weeds, and if you look over here to your right hand side, this little Spanish looking courtyard back over there, that was the Port of Tortuga in Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest, the second Pirates of the Caribbean movies. All of the first three Pirates of the Caribbean movies used Little Europe quite a bit. Orlando Bloom's blacksmith shop was back over there. They featured that area quite prominently. But now we're going to go right inside of the soundstage, one that you'll see on your screens in this clip from the Fox show Bones.
When I talked to him, the guy died in his arms.
That's with the FBI?
FBI, yeah. We hear about the human remains.
That's him. Right over there.
You alright?
Yeah.
That scene was filmed right over here on your right-hand side, right along the subway platform that we're pulling in next to. The subway setting was originally designed to serve as the San Francisco subway system. They were using it there on Bones as the Washington, D.C. subway system. This soundstage has also been in things like Beverly Hills Cop 3 with Eddie Murphy, the old TV series Sequest DSV with Roy Scheider. But what makes this soundstage... You get this little tremor sometimes. It's like, whoa! I gotta go, whoa! Back there on the left-hand side, I guess you're gonna see the upper part of the set. Look out back there. Oh, thank goodness that's not a real truck, but that is real fire. Look out back there. No. I knew I should have worn my sports bra today. Hang on there, buddy. Oh, got it. On the left-hand side, I think the subway's still running. Oh, I bet you didn't even know LA had a subway. Oh, yeah, the right-hand side. I think a waterman is burst. What's going on? pretty good there when that all comes together on screen. The killer shark from Jaws. Now, I know what you're saying. You say you saw Jaws and the shark dies at the end. Well, we would never harm an animal in the making of a motion picture. That's Bruce right over there. See him, he's right over there, enjoying his old age in this little pond out here on the back lot. Oh, that's George, the diver there. Hey, George. George, the diver, he's Bruce's handler, his trainer, basically. They're old friends. They work together on all the Jaws movies. Looks like George is over there giving Bruce his lunch. Oh no. That's all right. That's too much blood. Oh, Mike, you better call somebody. I'm telling you, that's not... Hey, I don't know what happened there, folks. I'm sorry I had to see that. Don't worry about George. He'll be fine. Okay, we're still hanging on by a thread. We're all right. Oh, come on now. Is that really necessary? For sure, the fire might scare him away. I don't think sharks like fire very much. Never see one in the cookout. Oh, there he is. There's Bruce. He's still hungry. He's still hungry. He loves the taste of babies. Goodness gracious. The mechanical shark was nicknamed Bruce by director Steven Spielberg after his lawyer. Steven Spielberg's lawyer at the time was also named Bruce. Draw whatever connections you will there. He was working fine today, but that was definitely not always the case with Peter Krause and Bonnie Bedelia. It's also been used in a big Will Smith movie, Hancock. It was used in one of our all-time classic movies, To Kill a Mockingbird, with Gregory Peck, and it's been seen recently on the Fox show House, starring Hugh Laurie. Right now, though, you don't want to have your cameras out because we're going to take you up and down the most famous street on television. Welcome to Wisteria Lane. That's right, home to some very desperate housewives. Let's take a look around the neighborhood here, shall we? Over here on your left-hand side, I'll talk about several houses in a row on your left. That mustard-colored house with the columns belongs to Gabrielle, played by Eva Longoria. Right next door to her on the left-hand side, that grayish house used to be 1313 Mockingbird Lane on the classic TV show The Munsters. Still on your left-hand side, the yellow house belongs to Susan, played by Terry Hatcher. That used to be where the Hardy Boys lived on that old series with Sean Cassidy. Still on the left-hand side, the green house belongs to Lynette, played by Felicity Huffman. She lives there with her husband, played by Doug Savant, and all those troublemaking kids in there. You notice a lot of really nice flowers and landscaping on Wisteria Lane. Almost every single flower you see, even some of these flowering trees, are fake. Almost 100% artificial flowers here on Wisteria Lane. At the end of the cul-de-sac, that pink house once belonged to Edie, played by Nicolette Sheridan, until she met her untimely demise. Pink house was where Vanessa Williams' character lived last season. That pink house, though, is significant because it's really the only house on the street that is kind of like a real house. The rest of these houses are basically just shells. Some of them don't have back walls to them. They're not really finished off on the inside. They can really only be filmed from the outside. Most of the interior scenes on Desperate Housewives are all filmed in the sound stages back on the front lot. Known as Wisteria Lane on television, out here on the back lot, it's called Colonial Street, and it's been used for a lot of great things over the years. We mentioned the Munsters earlier. It was used as on another classic TV series, Leave It to Beaver. A couple of Tom Hanks movies, Lady Killers and The Burbs, both used Colonial Street. It was even seen in a music video from hip-hop artist Nelly. Now that you've seen Wisteria Lane up close and in 3 dimensions, or Housewives 360 3D as I like to call it, take a look at your screens, you'll see how it appears on ABC's hit show, Desperate Housewives.
If there is one thing everyone in suburbia can appreciate, it's a good neighbor.
What the heck? Let's do that!
Productions ever shot at Universal, occupying 10 sound stages on the front lot, huge portions out here of the back lot. Those sets on your right-hand side are the only ones still standing from that Christmas classic. Well, those residents of Blue Bell had to deal with a lot more than just the Grinch, because on the back lot, their next-door neighbor was one of motion picture history's most infamous murderers, Norman Bates. On your right-hand side are 2 of the most famous sets still standing in Hollywood, the legendary Bates Motel and Mother's House from Alfred Hitchcock's unforgettable classic Psychos, starring Anthony Perkins and Janet Leigh. What's that guy doing? What, Mike? There's a guy came out of the office. Yeah, he just went. Oh, it looks like he's just moving a rug or something. What's he? Wait, that's not a rug. Is that a body? I think he just put a body. Oh, we didn't see anything, sir. Oh, we didn't see anything. Oh, we need to get out of here. As we come to a stop up here, you can stand up if you need to get some better pictures. This incredible set is the remains of the neighborhood where Tom Cruise's character hides out early during the War of the Worlds. The plane that you're looking at was at one time a fully functional 747 that was destroyed and brought here to the lot specifically for the making of this incredible sequence.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around the vision of Stephen.
Seems like you have to sit down to talk about the War of the Worlds. I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. You're doing good. Listen to me. Listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Down closed.
As I said, this set is one of the largest ever constructed for a movie, rivaling in size and scope even some of those used in the epic The Ten Commandments, directed by Cecil B. DeMille. Even with these life-size realistic sets, War of the Worlds still has over 500 special effects shots in it. That's more than Steven Spielberg had ever used before. But we're going to leave that devastated neighborhood behind now. Take you out here, show you a lovely little cabin coming up in your right-hand side.
I'm going backwards. I'm sorry about the confusion, folks. We're actually not supposed to go through this next area. They've had a bit of an infestation problem in here. They don't like us to come through here. But, oh man, I really don't like bugs. Hang on, folks.
Be ready for just about anything.